and every negatively affected child within our nation. And for that, I say congratulations. And for that, I say thank you. I must say at this point, in essence, the child policy gives us the opportunity to enhance the status of children with these main objectives. 1, to provide a comprehensive framework to guide all stakeholders toward achieving optimal well-being of children. 2, to provide a framework for the development and the coordination of policies, programs, and legislation that will promote the rights of all children. 3, to ensure sufficient, effective, and sustainable resource allocation for services that will directly impact our children. 4, to provide a gauge for stakeholders to position and align their strategies, resources, and mobilization efforts across the nation. And finally, to create the blueprint through which the government could encourage all duty bearers, guardians, and the like to shift from viewing children as mere objects, but as people who can make a difference in their lives. Thus, the public consultation is a platform for you to speak out and make a difference. A saying goes like this: what is said is forgotten, but what is written is history. Today, you will be making history. As you sit here today, as we consult, as we discuss, there are a number of views that we would like you all to share. There are a number of groups that we have created that you'll find yourselves in. One such group is, how does society view children? That's a rich discourse. 2, should children be entitled to recreation and play? And we had that rich discussion in Tobago with children. Some of them felt like, we aren't getting to play enough, teachers don't give us lunchtime, they don't give us breaks, if we have a sweaty back, we'll get licks, or kind of thing like that, you know? So it's important to even have that discussion. Is play and recreation important for the development of children? Next, can we prevent discrimination? Are our children being discriminated against? Next, child protection. Are our children being protected in every facet of our nation? Next, health. Are our children receiving optimal health care? Education. Are children receiving the best education regardless of where they come from? Families and communities. Are families and parents and communities and community residences empowered with the tools to make a difference? Child participation. Are children included in issues that affect them? And finally, a child protection implementation plan developed by UNICEF will be discussed. So without much further ado, no further discussion is necessary. I don't need to go on anymore because the baton is in your hands. You will now be the voices. You will represent the views of those who need to be heard. Again, I thank you for coming out this morning and agreeing to make a difference, for making your impact in history. Thank you so kindly, and do have a pleasant day with us.
Thank you, Mr. Moses. He's always a ball of energy, and I hope he has woken all of you all up and you all are ready for today's discussion. So are you all, ladies and gentlemen, ready to make history?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. So as he would have said, policy is grounded in 8 guiding philosophies, and we are happy to engage you in the process of making the lives of our children better for today, tomorrow, and all of the future. So ladies and gentlemen, as I promised, today's ceremony is very short, and I'd like to hand over to Dr. Patricia Searles, our consultant, to provide a little bit of feedback, a little bit of an overview of today's discussion and the policy. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It's a tough act to follow, Bertrand, but I will try. I want to start off first by saying it is my absolute pleasure in walking you through the next couple of hours. And I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that by and large, the formal part of the is over. The bad news is this is where we all join hands and we start the work. But before you give your first critique, before you give your first comment, before you have your first round of discussion, I want to commend you for joining us on this arena. I really do see it as an arena because we are fighting for the well-being of our children. We are pushing back on the negativity. We're trying to nurture them so that they'll be the best men and women of tomorrow. And I want to take a moment and say thank you so very much. It is easy to become tired in the video. It is easy to get frustrated and bogged down with a list of things that we can do, should do, and aren't doing. And yet, when the call is made, we show up. We raise our hands and say, okay, yes, I'm going to have the discussion. Yes, I'm going to attempt to dialogue once more. And for that, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you very much. So, we keep talking about the 9 principles that underpin the policy. 8, sorry. And we together today embody that. One of the principles key is that it takes a community. We cannot do this alone. All hands on deck to take this discussion and the action forward. Remember a time when we ran around the house playing in the rain? When our parents could confidently send us to the corner to get a slice of bread, a container of milk, and they didn't have to worry or panic? Remember when our parents not around, we opened in the fridge and we closed it slowly, trying to figure out exactly where the light comes from. Back and forth, draft. You see that innocence? That is why we are here today, to recapture that. So here's what is happening. The Office of the Prime Minister, in collaboration with UNICEF, would have had a series of focus group and in-depth stakeholder conversations a while ago. And based on that round of data collection, they would have identified certain strategies and key areas of focus for well-being of children in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what is documented in the policy. When you look through the policy, you will see common themes being jumping out at you. And those are the themes that we are going to discuss today. The Office of the Prime Minister made a commitment to participatory governance, and they said they were going to come back and allow the stakeholders an opportunity to vet what it is that has been written there. They didn't want to just assume that their interpretation of what was said was accurate. And that is why this morning we're going to have 8 groups of discussions, touching on the 8 thematic areas. Some work would have already been done through UNICEF and the Child Development Unit as far as child protection issues are concerned. So there's an implementation plan that would have been drafted for that specific thematic area. We are going to allow stakeholders the opportunity to look at some of the milestones that have been identified in the plan and give their comments. And that represents the 9th discussion group today. So where you're sitting, go through the rudiments, you're going to see it in groups. The chairs are set up in groups of 2s. What is going to happen is that we're going to ask that once the consultation starts, the first row just turn the seats around and become a talk circle. On the back of the chairs, you will also see the specific thematic area that will be discussed in that group. Participants are going to be allowed 14 minutes to have an in-depth interrogation of all issues relevant to that theme alone. At the end of the 40 minutes, a cue is going to be given and you are invited to go and join any other thematic area of your choice. The thinking is not everyone has the same level of passion in all areas, not everyone has the same level of expertise. So therefore, we didn't want to bog down in you having to sit through a conversation that you really could not participate in. We want to allow you to have your say where it matters most to you. It means, therefore, that at the end of today's consultation, you will have an opportunity to discuss 3 thematic areas. So choose wisely. If it is that you go across and the seats are all occupied, the next round, go back to that thematic area. Find another area that is important or relevant to you that you can contribute. And that is how the proceedings will go for today, right? Because the moderators are not sitting in their correct spaces, I can't identify the themes. But what you can do is just we allow you a few minutes to just look at the back of the chairs, decide where you want to sit, and get into the thematic areas. So, and by way of informed consent, I would like you to know that we are going to be recording the discussions. Some groups will have rapporteurs, but because we did not have as many persons as we would want, we are relying on the technology. Therefore, you do not need to identify yourself. No one is going to ask your name or your place of work. It's just going to be a general, light conversation. Are you ready? Professor Reddock, I see hand up.
You said names would not be used.
Yes.
Anyway, I just was wondering, because I'm trying to discuss these issues outside of context. So I was just wondering whether you yourself had identified any broad parameters of the situation of children in society that we could then use throughout our discussion.
Okay, so then so that is the situation analysis was captured in the National Child Policy. That is available online. We also have, I believe we have 2 or 3 copies of it that persons can reference before we start the conversation. To borrow down into the specifics, I cannot quote, I don't want to speak with authority here with all the document in front of me, right? But to say, okay, let me see if it is that I can give a general sense. Based on the conversation and the original data collection that would have been done, concerns would have been raised in terms of our child protection mechanism, that is understood. While strides have been made in terms of legislation and institution, there has been a slowness for the operational rollout of certain techniques and strategies. Persons, by and large, even if it is that you speak to the members of the grassroots, not the decision makers or the politicians, there seems to be a disconnect in terms of their awareness of where they can go if in need of help, how to access that help, and what exactly they can make a fuss about. Even though lots of work would have gone into identifying and making sure and communicating the rights of the child and itemizing it even in a child-friendly document, somehow that has not taken a life of its own and seen the widespread inculcation into the society. And that is why we have pinpointed one of the themes to be how society sees the child. Because it's one thing to talk about behavioral change, which is one of the things that the UNICEF obviously flagged, that there needs to be a behavioral change campaign. But unless we start having the grassroots conversation in terms of what our society thinks about children and whether they have a voice, whose responsibility it is to take care of them, we will not know what are the correct indicators and metrics to hit in this behavioral change campaign. Is it a deep-rooted cultural issue that is not going to be so simply done away with a pamphlet and a video? So those are the conversations that we are attempting to have. There has been a continued call for parenting issues to be taken seriously in the country. But how do we do that? Traditionally, parenting has been seen as a very private occurrence. So where is the line, therefore, for us in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of how much involvement government can have in how you raise your child? So the international community, based on best practices and a review of other policies that exist in other jurisdictions, would pick some ideals and objectives. So our conversation here is to distinguish between what holds outside and what is practical and plausible for us. And if it means, therefore, that we need to take a step back, and yes, leave the ideal up there, but do the fundamental steps prior, then so be it. We need to get it right, guys. It doesn't make sense having a nicely articulated document that matches international best practices and standards, and then it stays on the shelf because people don't even know how to start to break this down into something plausible and actionable. Yes? I've seen hands. Yes, I do.
A pleasant good morning to all. My name is Donald Berment. I am a father and a grandfather. So the context that I came here for is what has happened to my daughter, is happening to my daughter now and grandson, and to all future generations of children. I believe that Professor Reddock is looking for something more than what we can do to see what has been done in the past or has not been done, and what we can do now, whether they are young parents or people here who are not parents as yet. The context is our children, Professor Reddock. Thank you very much.
Yes, and as part of the exercise is to have that final implementation plan. So it's not a conversation about what is happening and hasn't worked. It is moving the discussion forward in terms of what are the practical timelines and who is going to be responsible for what. Right? I think it's important for us to start, because I'm seeing Kimber coming to tell me about time running out, so you want to take over? Correct.
All right. The CRC talks about non-discrimination. Is that not so?
Correct.
Yes. So when we talk about our children, under the CRC, we're supposed to be caring for all the children within the jurisdiction. Is that not so?
Yes.
All right. So I'm trying to understand when we're talking about the policy, about the multi-sectoral planning and integrated approach, that all the ministries are in line with the OPM. Yes.
Getting there. We have had the conversation in terms of child protection issue.
All right. So therefore, we cannot have a conversation which talks about giving priority to our nationals, and we can't be talking about certain things must not be done at the expense of our national, because we are supposed to care for all children. So is that the policy of this meeting going forward, or are we going to say that although we have ratified the convention, although we have not entered a reservation in terms of non-discrimination, we can still discriminate against children within the jurisdiction? Because I understand it, once the children are paired, they are our responsibility without any reservation.
I hear your concerns and I acknowledge it. However, there are some decisions that are at risk of taking are being discussed at other levels that I am not privy to. So I will not be able to stand here and make a policy declaration on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Development Unit. I have been tasked with a very specific mandate, and therefore, there are a number of persons representing the unit here at high levels that I'm sure are taking note of exactly your concerns. Right? So at this juncture, I would like to invite the moderators to find their groups